Mr. President.
The senator from Texas.
You know, unfortunately, there's far too much scaremongering that occurs in the political world. But as John Adams famously said, facts are stubborn things. Now, my friend from Oregon just described the Consumer Freedom Amendment as, quote, a bomb going off in health care. That's interesting rhetoric, but it's disconnected from the actual facts. Let's talk about what my friend from Oregon neglected to mention or respond to in any way, shape, or form. He said not a single word about HHS finding the Consumer Freedom Amendment would expand insurance coverage by 2.2 million people. He had not a word to say in response to that. What he did say is those who might choose freedom plans would be choosing what he calls junk insurance. Well, you know, it's very nice that Obamacare mandates that every person must buy a full-fledged Cadillac plan with all the coverages in the world. Problem is, there are millions of people that can't afford it. And not only can they not afford it, they get fined by the IRS because they can't afford it. My friend from Oregon said not a word about the 6.5 million people being fined by the IRS, roughly 50% of whom make $25,000 a year or less. It's interesting, the Democrats are advocating fining people who make $25,000 a year or less because they can't afford insurance. And what they say is, look, we're going to fine you until you can afford to buy the full Cadillac plan. Well, you know what? If you're a young woman, you're 28 years old, you're just starting your career, you're making $30,000 a year, you may not be able to afford the full Cadillac plan, but you might like some coverage. You might like catastrophic coverage. So if you get a cold, if you break your arm, you'll cover that out of your health savings accounts, perhaps. But if, God forbid, you get some terrible disease or hit by a truck, you'd like to have an insurance policy. Well, sadly, our friends, the Democrats, say you're out of luck. If you can't pay for the full-fledged Cadillac, you get nothing. They think your choices are junk insurance. Remember when Barack Obama said, if you like your insurance plan, you can keep it? Well, listen how the Democrats have moved today. If they don't like your insurance plan, you can't keep it. If they think your plan is junk, you can't keep it, and they're going to fine you from the IRS because they don't like your insurance plan. You know what, Mr. President? I think you know better what your family wants. Consumer Freedom Amendment doesn't take away a single choice. If you like the Obamacare plans, they're still on the market with all those mandates, but the Democrats are terrified of freedom. They're terrified that if people actually had the choice, they might not choose the full Cadillac. They might make a different choice. But then in the world of scaremongering, my friend from Oregon also said, well, those on the Obamacare exchanges would go into a death spiral, would see their premiums spike. Well, remember that John Adams quote about facts being stubborn things? Here's something else my friend from Oregon ignored, said nothing about. HHS found that those on the exchanges with all the Title I mandates, including pre-existing conditions, that their premiums would drop by over $5,500 a year. So the question is, who is more trustworthy? The experts at HHS analyzing what would occur with competition and choices in the marketplace, or the rhetoric and scaremongering, sadly, that's being offered from the other side? It would be one thing if they were confronting facts, if they were actually addressing real facts. Instead, it's nothing but angry rhetoric. My friend from Oregon described repealing Obamacare and empowering consumers and lowering premiums as, quote, wealth care. Well, there's an irony in that, and that, number one, the people paying the IRS fines, roughly half of them are making less than $25,000 a year. It's the Democrats that are fining low-income people. But number two, do you know who agrees with the Democrats on this? The insurance companies. Indeed, my friend from Oregon was reading the insurance companies. Why have the top 10 insurance companies had their profits double? Because the Democrats mandate you got to buy their products. And you know where the Democrats and the insurance companies agree? None of them want premiums to lower. Of course, the insurance companies don't want more competition, more options, and your premiums going down. They want to stick it to you as much as you can. And sadly, I don't understand why, but the Democrats are standing arm in arm with the insurance companies, saying their profits need to increase even more. I don't know, maybe they cynically believe eventually it'll push us to single-payer socialized medicine. I don't know why they do it, but what's wealth care is Obamacare, fattening the insurance companies at the expense of working men and women. Facts matter. And if our friends on the Democratic side of the aisle want to raise accusations, they need to stay in the realm of reality and deal with actual facts. You want lower premiums, you want more choices, more option, more competition. You want higher premiums, you want fewer choices, less options, less competition. That's what Obamacare does, and it's why millions of people are hurting and frustrated. It's why today is an important day. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.